Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Senate Bill 19 is not new to this House body. It has passed here twice, once in 23 and once again in 24. We bring it back today as a Senate bill, but what it does is it allows for no more than 1 minute, or no less than 1 minute, no more than 2 minutes of silence at the beginning of the school day. Mr. Speaker, would you have the clerk call, what floor minute is it? House Committee Substitute 1, please.
Clerk, please report.
House Committee Substitute 1 to Senate Bill 19.
Gentleman from Woodford.
The House Committee Substitute, what it does, and I'll read it here to you very quickly, the Board of Education of the local school districts may provide an opportunity for pupils to attend moral instruction in their jurisdiction in the manner provided in this section. Local boards of education shall allow pupils to be excused for up to 1 hour and no more than one day a week, which shall include travel time and to attend a district-approved request for a moral instruction offering upon receiving the consent of the pupil's parents or guardian. Moral instruction will be provided under this section shall not take place on school property, shall be voluntary and free of coercion by school personnel, and moral instruction shall be given without expense to any local board of education. Mr. Speaker, if there's not any question, I move for adoption.
Motion is for the adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any discussion of the committee substitute? Chair recognizes the gentleman from Fayette 79 for discussion of the committee substitute.
Would the gentleman yield to a question?
He will yield.
Gentlemen, thank you for that explanation. I want to make sure I understood there as you read the committee sub to us. The student would be allowed once a week, an hour, to leave the school property, go somewhere else to get this moral instruction. Is that correct?
Gentleman from Woodford.
That is correct.
Gentleman from Fayette.
Would he yield to another question?
He will yield.
Is there any parameters or guidelines or guardrails around what this moral instruction could include?
Gentleman from Woodford.
There are stipulations that guide the school board in approving the instruction or the location for the instruction and that sort of thing. Yes.
Gentleman from Fayette.
Would he yield to another question?
He will yield.
Could you share with us what those guidelines are?
Well, I can read you the bill.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Gentleman from
Well,
Woodford. Let me yield.
Let me yield to the gentleman.
Recognize the gentleman from Todd.
Thank you for the question. The committee substitute does not set forth what the moral instruction would be. The guidepost and the check on that system is that a district may or may not approve. So you have an entity, I will say entity, that comes to the district and says, I have a plan. And then the district can look at the written application and make sure certain guidelines, as the gentleman was speaking to, are met. And if those guidelines are met, then the school district can continue to go, do we want this or not? Or do we think this is a good proposal or not? So really that's left back with the school district about what the moral instruction would be, approved for an entity with certain directions and whatever they work out in an agreement.
Gentleman from Fayette.
Would one of the gentlemen yield to a follow-up question?
They will yield.
Okay. So we're going to have these kids, hypothetically, these students leaving to go get this possible moral instruction that is going to be defined by the local school district, so it can be different drastically from county to county or from district to district. When the student is going to miss this instructional time in school, what are we going to do to make up that time? Are they just going to lose out on that instructional time altogether, or are they going to make up, summer school, weekends? How are we going to make up for that loss of instructional time?
Gentleman from Todd.
I would not anticipate any loss of instructional time, and this is why. One, there's really a line drawn between K through 5 and 6 through 12. K through 5, generally all the students are on a similar schedule with the same recess, same lunch, and same subject matters that they deal with. There's no loss of instructional time if that 1 hour is during one of those types of blocks. Grade 6 through no instructional time during a block, and if that's when the moral instruction takes place, then there's no loss of instructional time. 6 through 12 was more complicated, and there was some consideration of precluding 6 through 12 from considering this option. However, we did not want to tie the hands of local districts, left that as an option. Why is it going to be more difficult? To your point, 6 through 12, you have very varied schedules for each child or each group of children. I'm not sure that I see how it would work at 6 through 12, but we did not want to forbid it from happening if someone could figure a way through.
Gentleman from Fayette.
May the sponsor yield to another question?
We yield.
If I understood the answer correctly, they could lose out on instruction depending on what grade they were in. Is that correct?
Gentleman from Todd.
No. So K through 5, generally kids are in certain classes with certain teachers and fairly much the same teacher throughout the day, same subject matters, but they have similar by class or by grade, they have similar break times from instruction. It's during that time that a child could go on moral instruction.
Gentleman from Fayette.
I'm not sure if this is a question or a statement, but I've got a child that's in first grade, and he doesn't get an hour where he's not in an instructional time. So I'm not understanding, not following, maybe I'm a little dense, whatever. I'm not sure how a child can be taken out of school for an hour when they don't have an hour break. They don't get 20 minutes for lunch. We've got bills in the General Assembly to mandate lunchtime to go to 30 minutes. So I'm having a hard time following how you could take a child out of school for an hour and they wouldn't lose instructional time.
Gentleman from Todd.
I'm not sure that's a question, but I'll try to respond to the comment. If you look at the schedules, you do have recess, you have physical education, I'm not saying all children, you have lunch, you have other times that are not on normal subject matters such as reading, math, those type things. And this is the thing, gentlemen. If a school district says this doesn't work for our kids, it doesn't work for instructional time, it doesn't work for whatever reason, this remains a may for that district. And in fact, there are gentlemen and probably ladies in this room right now whose school districts already engage in this and have never had a complaint of loss of instructional time. So not only do you have the district that can work and be a gatekeeper to make sure it fits them, which apparently it does some already across the state and has been going on for a while, you also have, look, if you have a child and you go, I don't want to lose a moment of instructional time, you don't have to have your child released for that hour a week to go to moral instruction.
Gentleman from Fayette.
I think I'm done with questions. I'm just going to speak on the amendment.
Yes, sir.
Or the committee sub. I appreciate the gentleman from Todd coming in to answer my questions. I've got 2 children in very different age ranges and both in public schools, and we are actively trying to squeeze as much as we can into educators and school districts' already busy schedules, and I cannot reconcile how we're going to take kids, and I understand this may or may not already be going on. It doesn't mean that it's right or that it's okay or that we need to justify it or codify it in law to make it okay. We need our kids in schools to be learning, and I just don't think it's a good idea to, without specific state guidelines and Department of Education parameters on what we're doing during that hour, to leave it up to the local district to do something that may or may not be the best idea for the child statewide. So, I'm going to vote no, and I'm going to encourage other people to vote no on this committee sub. Thank you.
Lady from Fayette, 93, seeking recognition on the committee sub or on the bill.
Question on the sub, and then,
You're recognized for a question on the committee substitute.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the sponsor yield to a question?
You will yield.
Thank you. I've got a couple. One, is travel time part of the hour?
Gentleman from Todd.
As stated in the bill, yes.
Okay, thank
Lady
you.
from Fayette.
Would he respond to another question?
He will yield.
Thank you. Who will provide transportation for these students?
Gentleman from Todd.
As stated in the bill, at no cost to the district, that's a requirement. How that's accomplished is going to be up to the district and the entity that's making the application, whether that is a reimbursement for no net cost to the district for use of their transportation vehicles, or whether that be provided by the third-party entity. If provided by the entity, the bill also speaks to insurance requirements and other practical matters.
Okay, may I ask another question?
He will yield another question.
Thank you. Because during the school day, teachers and school staff are considered it's their loco parentis. Does this mean that a staff member, or would a staff member be required to travel with the kids to wherever they're going to receive this moral instruction?
Gentleman from Todd.
First off, the in loco parenti, I would take issue with, but to answer the question directly, no, there's no requirement.
Lady from Fayette.
We can have that discussion about the other part later if you'd like. I would love that. Sorry, may I ask another question?
He will yield.
Thank you. Who's liable if a child is injured during transportation during the school day when they are the responsibility of the school, of the district?
Gentleman from Todd.
As stated in the bill, it would be the entity.
Lady from Fayette.
May I speak on the sub?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. And I appreciate the responses. The example of the school day that the sponsor was explaining may be a generalized idea, but I can tell you with certainty, with 39 schools in Fayette County Public School District, what was described is not how the day goes. And so I cannot figure out for the life of me how with a 15-minute recess or a 20-minute recess, a 25-minute lunch, we can't encroach on specials because kids have the right to receive that education. It's part of the curriculum, also determined by the SBDM. I don't know how to make this happen with it falling within the law and the current statute and requirements for public schools. So I encourage everybody, this is going to be a hot mess. I suggest that you vote no.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Jackson for discussion of the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I speak on the amendment?
Yes, sir.
I know that for people who may have not seen something like this before, how this might be a little bit scary, but I will speak from a standpoint of a school that currently does this. We have an agreement made with some outside entities. We got a foundation that helps, and we've got some local churches that help. When you're in schools, especially elementary school like myself, community involvement is a big part of the school day. Anytime we can get the community involved, anytime we can get especially at the elementary level, that's a very important thing to do. And what this looks like in my district and in my school is we take any third, fourth, or fifth grade student whose parents say that they want this, and they are transported to a local location. It could be a church, it could be a community, a location, whatever is made up in the agreement. The outside entity pays for transportation. We cannot require staff members to go, but if a staff member decides to go on their own, they can. So we have liability coverage there. All of the people doing it have to go through a background check. We're not turning our students loose with people who have not been vetted properly. And I will tell you, when my kids get to leave and come back, it's amazing the smiles that they have. I mean, it's one of those things, I don't know any kid that doesn't like a little field trip. And we do have to stay less than an hour, and we're back. So it is doable, and I would encourage any school in the state of Kentucky that has an outside entity, a church, some type of youth organization that would like to partner up with your school to do something like this. It is an awesome experience. And I can speak firsthand that it's doable, and I can vouch that this is a great idea, and for that I will be supporting this measure. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Jefferson 42 for discussion of the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield to a question on this?
He will yield.
Gentlemen, I just want to have a pretty clear understanding of what is allowable by the school district. So I apologize for being redundant, but I'm going to try to give some specific scenarios. Here's my first scenario. I am a man of Christian faith, and so I believe, if I understand this correct, if a school district approves a religious organization that's Christian affiliated to provide moral instruction, and from what I understand from moral instruction, that could be teachings on responsibility, kindness, certain things of that nature. As long as the school district approves, that would be allowable. Is my understanding correct?
Gentleman from Todd.
Correct, as long as the school district has approved the applicant's proposal.
Gentleman from Jefferson 42.
The gentleman yield to another question.
He will yield.
Along those same lines, again, just understanding the parameters of what a school district can approve of.
Gentleman from Todd.
I'm not sure that I caught the question, and I'm sorry.
Sorry.
Gentleman from Jefferson 42.
Sorry, Mr. Speaker. Here's another scenario. An organization, assuming approved by the school board in question or the district in question, provides a program that supports moral instruction, kindness, fairness, whatnot, and uses conversation, because role playing is some of the things that I just looked up that speaks to gender affirming natures. We have LGBTQ youth out there, so, and especially in my district. So would that, as long as it's approved by the district, also be allowable?
Gentleman from Todd.
As long as the district is approving the proposal, it is going to be determining what the parameters of the program will be that's agreeable. But I also want to answer the question with this context. It's a little bit scary. We're not sure what's going on. How do we understand this? How could it work in the real world? It already is. The gentleman from Perry, the gentleman from Jackson, the gentleman from Rockcastle all have programs that are up and going. And I would point out one more piece on this point. Look at Section 3 on page 6 of PHS 1, the committee sub. Section 3, the following KRS sections are repealed. This program already exists and has been existing for years in KRS statutes. We are not changing any of this. We're actually bringing all these sections together and clarifying requirements to make sure we have some commonality of considerations for approval by all districts, and still letting that local control determine what the program will be. This is nothing new. This is modifications to streamline and give more guidance to districts to encourage these programs across the state if a district agrees with it.
Gentleman from Jefferson 42.
Will the gentleman yield to one final question?
He will yield.
I appreciate the context, especially as a freshman that doesn't have the luxury of the history. One more question. Along the scenario, as long as the district approves, and sorry to be redundant, If the district says, as a part of this moral instruction, that it is not required for a member of the district or the school in question to be present for that activity, again, as long as the district approves, that is allowable under this, under the bill.
Gentleman from Todd.
This does not require anyone to be present from the school, although, as I think the gentleman from Jackson indicated previously, a school can either require it or allow it.
Gentleman from Jefferson 42.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson 32. You seeking recognition for comment on the committee sub now? Yes. You're recognized to do so.
May I ask the gentleman from Todd, most likely, a question?
He will yield a question.
Okay, so page 5, section 6 states, a pupil who does not participate in moral instruction shall remain in school, shall take non-credit enrichment courses or participate in educational activities not required in the regular curriculum. They could possibly be mixed in with other students or do study hall, computer instruction, music, art, library, physical education, and tutorial assistance. As I understand this, while a certain group of students, I have no problem with a parent deciding they want their student withdrawn for moral instruction. I have no problem with us saying that that doesn't count on their attendance. What I do have a problem with is saying that during that time, and I understand that in your description, it sounded like maybe it would just work out that way, but during that time, other students would be restricted from engaging in core content. Is that a correct understanding?
Gentleman from Todd.
I think the correct understanding is not engaging in core content in regularly scheduled and regular classes. There has been some conversation around, wait a minute, what if someone needs tutoring? What if someone needs extra assistance? I checked with staff on this matter and they say no contradiction, this bill would allow that.
May I speak on the amendment?
Yes, ma'am.
So we just, in January, which is very, very difficult for a building to do, restructured our entire master schedule. And we restructured it so that we could ensure that there were more opportunities for more adults, more teachers to be in the room to work on our students' literacy. It really created a bind. For a special education teacher like myself, I have to pull kids in and out. It made it very difficult, but we did that to focus on that. I'm really concerned that by the language that, as it's written in the bill, that other students, we don't have extra hours in our day in my building, that other students would not have the opportunity to engage in core content. And I also think that computer instruction, music, art, all of those are also considered core content to us. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson 35 for discussion of the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Will the gentleman yield to a question?
He will yield.
Thank you. This is new to me. I didn't know this was happening across the in areas of the state. I was not familiar with the terminology, moral instruction. And I had somebody from back home just text me and said, what is moral instruction? And I don't know. So is there a definition? I didn't see a definition. Is there one in the committee sub?
Gentleman from Todd.
There is no definition of that in the committee sub.
Lady from Jefferson 35.
Thank you. Will the gentleman yield to another question?
He will yield.
Is there a definition that school districts could refer to in reviewing applications from entities wanting to provide?
Gentleman from Todd.
I think they can refer to whatever they have been referring to. So if you look at the core capacities for public schools, it includes a certain type of moral instruction. I know of no statute that tells them what that is, so they are going by some kind of definition currently. We are trying our best not to tell a district what kind of moral instruction they have to engage in. Thus, it becomes a local district control issue.
Lady from Jefferson.
Thank you very much.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Perry for discussion of the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd just like to speak on the committee sub, just
sir.
from my experience with the release time, our church, along with about 3 or 4 other churches, are already involved in this activity. And so I'll speak as a pastor. It helps me as a pastor in the community to be more involved in the lives of our kids. The transportation is paid for by a foundation. They pay for the school bus driver. The kids come to the church. They're out of school and back in school in 1 hour. But it also gives me an opportunity to see kids who need shoes, who might need clothes. It helps us as a church to be involved with our kids in our community outside of actual church services on Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. So this is a good thing. I would encourage, a lot of you, if not most of you, go to church and you're involved in your church. I would encourage you to have your churches reach out to be part of the kids' lives. I don't want to just come up here to represent my people back home. I want to be back home. I want to be involved in their lives. And so this is one area where we can be involved in the lives of kids who many of them don't have a dad in the home, or maybe they live with their grandparents. And this instruction is something that gives them a foundation for their life, and it's character instruction, different things that we do, and we do it once a month. And so I would encourage all of you to support this. It's a great bill. It's a great idea to help be involved in our communities. And so I thank you for your time.
Motions for the adoption of House Committee Substitute 1. Roll call having been called for by 2 or more members. Those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, nay. Roll call is open for your vote. All members voted. Clerk will take the roll. In 67 members voting aye, 20 members voting nay, House Committee Substitute 1 is adopted. Gentleman from Woodford.
Mr. Speaker, if there's no more questions, I move that Senate Bill 19, as amended by House Committee Sub 1, be adopted.
Question before the body is passage of Senate Bill 19 is amended by House Committee Substitute 1. Chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson 32 for discussion of the matter.
Yes, may I speak on the bill?
Yes, ma'am.
So in each committee meeting presenting this bill, a rabbi sat with Senator Gardler, and on each occasion he mentioned that there was research supporting the fact that a moment of silence would decrease aggressive behavior from our youth. So I asked for that research, and I got it today. And I read it, one article, not really research. And while the report shows a correlation between mandatory moments of silence and reductions in juvenile crime, the evidence does not establish a definitive causal relationship. A correlation is not causation. Correlation is not causation. The reductions observed may be influenced by other interventions, external factors, pre-existing crime trends, rather than the moment of silence alone. Moreover, in this report, no Pearson correlation analysis was conducted to test the strength or significance of this relationship. Given that the 3 states with the policy experienced increases and others remained about the same, the statistical analysis might not even yield a statistically significant correlation. Ultimately, without a study isolating the moment of silence from other influences, its effectiveness as a crime prevention tool remains inconclusive. So, based upon information that I've been able to obtain, we are not using academic research of the effectiveness of a moment of silence in order to bring this legislation. And where that leads me and what's happening across the nation is that moment of silence bills are being filed because they want people to pray in school. Children can already pray in school. No one prevents a child from praying. No one prevents an adult from praying. But what this does is it adds a burden to the teachers to have to make sure that the students are quiet and seated and that you have this moment of silence. So I'm very concerned about this. I think that it is an infringement, possibly, of the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment. The first part of this lemon test under the Establishment Clause is that an initiative must have a secular legislative purpose. So at this point, besides the theory that a moment of silence would reduce aggressive behavior, I don't feel like we have that. And the fact that a rabbi sat next to Senator Girdler, as opposed to an educator or a professor of juvenile justice, really says to me, it signals to me that this is about religion and this is not about a secular moment of silence. I will be a no vote.
Chair recognizes the gentleman from Fayette 45 for discussion of the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Would the gentleman from Woodford or the gentleman from Todd yield to a question?
He will yield.
Perfect, thank you. It is, on page number 2, it says that students shall remain seated and silent. Is that going to require disciplinary action for any students who are unable or do not maintain a position of seatedness and being silent during that no less than 1 minute, no greater than 2 minutes?
Gentleman from Woodford.
That would be up to school to decide how to require them to do that.
Gentleman from Fayette.
Thank you. Permission to speak on the bill, Mr.
Yes,
Speaker?
sir.
I know that my son has trouble sitting still and silent. He has ADHD, and that's fine. He's amazing. I just know that's something that could pop up on him if that gets put into statute. Kind of concerns me as a parent to a certain degree. Another thing that kind of concerns me, not as a parent perspective, for those who don't know, I represent portions of Fayette County and Jessamine County, a very diverse population, people of all walks and backgrounds. This may sound weird to you. I kind of actually like when I pray, and this bill allows for prayer, I kind of like to actually stand and like raise my hand to heaven. I know others who like to kneel when they pray. I know others who like to prostrate themselves. That's that when you see someone go all the way down on the ground when they pray. And I feel that if we're going to allow for prayer, that anyone should be able to do so in alignment with their own faith traditions and their own beliefs. I actually filed a floor amendment to this. Now, I think it'd be out of order now because it was an amendment to the original bill. That would have been House Floor Amendment 1. I did file today after the committee substitute was passed in committee, one that's not on the screen, Mr. Speaker, House Floor Amendment 3. That is the exact same bill in text as the one that was filed, House Floor Amendment 1. So I would move to suspend the rules to allow for children to pray outside of their seats or get out of their seats during that moment of silence.
Motion of the gentleman from Fayette is to suspend the rules for the purpose of allowing House Floor Amendment 3 to be considered and acted upon. Motion for suspension of the rules requires a constitutional majority, is not debatable. It requires a constitutional majority. A vote of 51 votes is required. The roll call machine is open for your vote. If you're in favor of the suspending the rules, vote aye. Opposed, nay. Clerk will take the roll. Being 19 members voting aye, falls short of the 51 votes required for the suspension of the rules. Gentleman from Fayette, you're still recognized to speak on the bill.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I would have really appreciated the flexibility that that amendment would have provided to our students in schools, especially since prayer is allowed during that time, and I do not think it impedes any other person in that school classroom to pray. I think if gentleman next to me is praying seated and I'm praying standing with a hand up, I don't think that impedes on his rights or freedoms or ability to pray or be silent or reflect or meditate whatsoever. But that's the decision that this body has just made, and that's part of the democratic process. So I'll be voting no for that reason today. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes the lady from Fayette, 93, for discussion of the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to act on a floor amendment as well.
You're recognized to do so.
Thank you. Could you, well, we're going to be in the same situation. Mine was originally filed to the original bill before the sub was adopted, but I'm asking for suspension of the rules for for Amendment Number 4 to House Bill 19.
Motion of the lady from Fayette, 93, is for suspension of the rules for the purpose of allowing House Floor Amendment 4 to be considered and acted upon. Motion to suspend the rules requires a constitutional majority of 51, is non-debatable. Roll call is open for your vote. Those in favor of suspending the rules for the purpose of allowing House Floor Amendment 4 to be acted upon, vote aye. Clerk will take the roll. Being 17 members voting aye, motion falls short of the 51 votes required for suspension of the rules. Lady from Fayette.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I hate that I won't have the opportunity to really give the body the opportunity to vote on this. It was actually a really good compromise that I think would have made the bill better. So that's how it goes. Thank you.
Question before the body is passage of Senate Bill. Chair recognizes the gentleman from Jefferson 30 for discussion of the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise briefly here today to echo what those before me have said, both in this chamber and long before this chamber was ever built. Long ago, our founding fathers cautioned us against establishing religious rites and rituals as part of our secular government. In the words of one wise American, there's a difference between exercising religious beliefs and imposing them upon others. Our Constitution fiercely protects the former and expressly prohibits the latter. While I respect my colleagues' piety and acknowledge their values, I cannot support this bill, which brings particular religious rites and practices into our schools and forces them upon children who do not share in that tradition. My colleagues style this school prayer bill as a move for moments of silence, but history shows in practice they are anything but. What we see across this country is this slogan hides an uncomfortable truth. These efforts do nothing more than open the door for forced religious practice on public school grounds. All of you know my religious background. What you may not know is that my beliefs are sincere and profound. And although I could never live without my faith, I couldn't sleep at night if I thought I was forcing it upon your children. I ask you not to force yours upon ours. This bill is not just a threat to my community, which nearly universally opposes it, but to every dissenting believer in the Commonwealth. This statute authorizes the recitation of the Lord's Prayer, an expressly Christian ritual. And ironically, it is a statute that also celebrates our religious freedom. I ask you to join me in opposing this bill. We had multiple amendments that were filed to try and find an acceptable compromise,
and they are out of order because of the substitution that took place today. And I ask from the bottom of my heart that you acknowledge the diversity of religions, the diversity of faith traditions, and do not impose the Lord's Prayer upon all our children. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Chair recognizes the lady from Jefferson 34 for discussion of the matter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to speak on the bill, please.
Yes, ma'am.
I think it's really important to point out to this body that the gentleman from Fayette here put forth a really good amendment, an amendment that everyone in this body should have easily been a yes on. And that was simply just to acknowledge the fact that there are people of different faiths, of different religions, and the way they choose to pray, to meditate, is going to look different from maybe the person next to them. So if this bill is really what you claim it to be, that should have been an easy yes. But because so many individuals in here voted either against it or chose not to vote at all, I think that speaks volumes about what the intent of this bill really is. And this is about bringing religion into schools and starting to indoctrinate children at an early age. It's inappropriate. I respect the fact that people have the right today, as we speak, children have the time to have moments of silence, and they can choose to pray in that time if they want to. The fact that we continue not only to bring this forward, but now we want to expand upon it, to let children leave during instructional time, is terrifying. Families have the ability on their own time to go to church, to go to temple, to go to wherever it is that you go to connect with your religion, your faith, your spirituality. Families have that time as it is. To start to impede upon instructional time at school, where there should be no overt religious opportunities such as what we have before us, is really problematic. I will be a no for this reason. I was not in favor of this bill to begin with, but the complete lack of acknowledging what the gentleman from Fayette was offering us is only confirmation for me and for all Kentuckians what this bill is really about.
Question before the body. This passage of Senate Bill 19 is amended by House Committee Substitute 1. Is there any further discussion? Seeing none, clerk will sound the chimes. Those in favor vote aye. Those opposed, nay. Roll call is open for your vote. All members voted. Does any member wish to change or explain their vote? Chair recognizes the gentleman from Rockcastle for explanation of vote not to exceed 2 minutes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was proud to vote yes on this. As a parent of a child who participates in the moral instruction, I do appreciate the clarity the bill provides. My only regret is that this bill doesn't apply to the General Assembly, because I could really use a moment of silence right now. Thank you.
Chair recognizes the lady from Fayette 93 for explanation of vote not to exceed 1 minute.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I just want to let everybody out there know that I voted no on this bill. I do not share the same religion as the vast majority of this body, nor do my children. So it is very concerning to me that this is the type of bill that we're focusing on. Like, this is, it's heartbreaking, and I wish that we had been able to add the gentleman from 45's amendment. It would have made it more palatable. So I'm happy to be a no.
All members voted. Clerk will take the roll. In 72 members voting aye, 19 members voting nay, Senate Bill 19, as amended by House Committee Substitute 1, is passed. Gentleman from Woodford.
Mr. Speaker, would you have the clerk call the title amendment, please?
Clerk, please report.
House Committee Amendment 1, the title amendment to Senate Bill 19.
Gentleman from Woodford.
Move for adoption.
Without objection, so ordered. Gentleman from Woodford.